Got you all. It's 5:54 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we are live right now. Understanding the Flow on March 28th in the year 2021. If you're paying any attention to that sort of thing, right here inside the Awake in the World group with me, myself, and I, Garen Avaloki Teshra, otherwise known as G or, the Tiger. How are you? We're really early. I was sitting here and I realized like there was 5 minutes to go, and I thought, there's nothing I'm going to do for 5 minutes except stare at this screen. So let's just have at it and start a few minutes early. And it's really not a bad thing. If you miss a little of this, you can just kind of rewind it later or come back and watch the beginning or just ignore Garen's blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, first of all, as always, hey, and the only person I get to see is the first one, and the first one who comes up is Susan. Hello, Susan. You're the early bird, you get the worm. Ew. I guess unless it's that tequila worm at the bottom of the bottle of mezcal, maybe that's a little better worm. It all depends who you are. Don't even ask. Young, stupid, had a bad experience with 2 of those bottles and 2 of those worms and never touched the stuff again, ever. And Louise is here, Kelly says, because I can't see anything after Susan popped up. So hello, Louise, as well. Yeah, we're a little early. We just thought we'd get on a few minutes early and have a little fun and just, you know, kind of set the tone for what we're going to talk about tonight. So let me express my gratitude for the existence of every single one of you. All of you. Let me express my love for you, my recognition of that essence of the Creator that is you and manifests you. Even though you may think you're an individualized form, I see you so much more clearly, and you are beautiful. With that, also, let me say, Happy International Women's Day. I guess my problem with the idea of having a day as it should always be about women, as it used to be. And that means women as in the feminine and the sacredness of the feminine. The ability to open ourselves in love and care for another with no need for a return from it. That's literally what motherhood is all about. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. And first, we're going to go back into time. And I know that no one appreciates that less than I do, but we're just going to pop back to yesterday for a minute. And we're going to talk about a post. And this, believe it or not, flows, pun intended, right into the discussion about understanding the flow. And what is the flow? Well, the flow is the river of life. And the reason we call it a river is because it alludes to movement, to ever-changing movement. So I had posted something yesterday, and here's the crux of it, and then we're going to talk about why it is absolutely the truth. You only ever experience yourself. Now, I've talked about this before if you've listened to me for a while, and I'm not at the absolute truth of your existence yet. I'm trying to take you through steps, assuming a base level of consciousness, and then, basically sort of delineating steps upwards to not blow your mind too much. But I am a little bit of an imp at heart, and I love hearing the small nuclear boom of someone's mind being blown wide open. I admit it. I love it. If I could do it to you all, I probably would. Here's the deal. There isn't an outside experience going on at all. And that is just quite impossible to accept for the vast majority of people. I totally get it. But I'm here to tell you today in truthfulness that there's another rabbit hole yet on your way to understanding the absolute truth of your existence, and we're nowhere near it there. Not even close yet. But here's the rabbit hole, and here's the way that I'm going to take a big, plunger, and just like, the coyote, I'm going to plunge you right through that hole, that rabbit hole, and pop you out into a larger universe. Good luck. Hope you're wearing loose-fitting clothing. So the truth of it is that there isn't anything outside of you. There simply isn't. It is a pure illusion. The illusion that you are somehow separate and somehow looking upon something, subject and object, is an entire falsehood. That is the illusion itself at its core. Now, okay, nuclear fallout, little bits of gray matter raining all over the place. Clean up your own mess. What does that mean practically? Okay, so what? I'm still apparently here as an individuated being. I can do some pretty funky things. I can slap myself around. Whatever I want to do. So, what does it mean to know you only ever experience yourself? Well, it is a clue. It is an indicator of how you should understand or approach the river of life. And of course, being an old Simple Mind fans, I come right back to the song Rivers of Life. Why? The two opening lines. Don't need the money, nothing can buy all that I feel under this sky. How beautiful is that, right? And it just reminds me that river of life, all that you feel, all that you experience, that's what you believe you're here for. That's the illusion. You didn't actually go anywhere to get to the amusement park, okay? And this is the amusement park. But again, we're speaking about the practicalities of it. And the reason this is a clue on how you should approach that flow, how to understand that flow, is because the universe operates out of pure, unadulterated, unconditional love. And that love is summed up in 3 simple words. As you wish. As you wish means so you think and believe upon yourself and being, so you will see projected around you in the apparent illusion. This is what that means. Now this is a tricky part. It's not that you get what you deserve. You get what you need most. And we need to make that very, very clear. There are way too many people who sit there and say, it's on me somehow. I clearly manifested that angry guy in the parking lot who came over and yelled and screamed at me and made me feel so little and so small. Yes, you did. No, you didn't. There's no fault. There's no blame. Only responsibility for how you choose to react. And you're always given the ability to create a new action, to not literally react to the same old past pattern of shrinking down into nothingness and believing yourself to be somehow responsible. This is just, a little bit of an example. Reality will always bring you the immediate expression of your inner belief system, the way you truly feel about yourself. Now, the big problem with that, and the reason why it can be a little difficult, is because a lot of that sits at the subconscious level. The thought that precedes the conscious thought. And we've talked about this before. If the subconscious thought is I can't handle life, then the conscious thoughts are going to reflect that in some way. And you may not see that I can't handle life, but the conscious thoughts will be a clue that there's a little bit of rot going on, a little deep within. So here we are, stuck with the reality that there is nothing external to you. It is all illusion. It really is. And I swear to you, it's the truth. I live in that state. It took me many, many years to get there. But for me, this is an amusement park. It's as much a dream as it is a reality. It has substance and texture and meaning, but it's also an empty projection. That doesn't make it any less valuable. That doesn't make you any less valuable. As a matter of fact, it allows me to see each and every one of you exactly as you are and love you no matter what is going on in there. Let's dive into this a little bit deeper before we continue on. The universe will always bring you the circumstances that you will interpret in the same way. So when you sit there and say, how come I keep reliving this same relationship pattern over and over and over again? The answer is because there's nothing you can do about it. Shoot yourself now. No, that's not the case. In reality, life is saying, as you wish, I love you. You need to grow past this limiting thought pattern of yours. Now, how do we grow past a limiting thought pattern when all we see is that we're repeating the same patterns over and over again, even though we're not consciously trying to? Right? It's not conscious. So much of it has been deeply programmed and has gone into that space of subconsciousness where it's almost totally automatic. So how in the name of God's green everything do you get out? When you keep repeating those same patterns, well, that's the rabbit hole. There's only one way out. You have to stop seeing whatever's happening with that same little narrow-minded point of view that you've always carried around. Now, I know that sounds harsh, maybe, right? Narrow-minded point of view, and your point of view is just that. It's a little itty-bitty dot. It's okay. I used to have one. And no matter how big a point of view I have now, I still know that really, it's just a little itty-bitty dot. Maybe a tiny bit less bitty than a lot of people's bitty-bitty dots, but it's still a little itty-bitty dot. Letting go of that itty-bitty dot is how you change your life. You don't have to rail against what's happening. You don't have to separate yourself from the world. I tried it. I went through it. I think I just spit on the camera. Oh, nothing's on the screen. Good luck. Karma's giving me that weird eye. She's like, uh-oh, Tiger's going off the rails again. She's heading for the door. There's an emergency escape hatch. So whenever you experience something that you're going to judge negatively, life is going to keep bringing you that experience so you can go ahead and keep judging it negatively. Why? Because it loves you to death, literally, and that's going to wake you up the most. That's going to give you the most opportunity to open your eyes, to expand your point of view, to let go of your point of view. So you have to start reinterpreting things. This is really, really going to suck, okay? But there is no experience that you're having that is truly negative or positive. There's not. None of them. They just are. The experience itself is neutral and it's empty because none of this really exists. But there is a deep meaning within that experience, still the same. And the only thing you have to do is understand that life is bringing you everything that you want. And most of that is subconscious. It's not sitting in your conscious mind. Those thoughts are flittering out and changing daily to the tune of anywhere between 60 and 80 or 90,000 a day for the average person. There's no focus there. The subconscious mind, that's where the focus lies. In that seething morass of the dark where strange shapes rise and fall out. The universe, in truth, is you. There is no reality outside of you. So how do you change those things in your life? You start changing your point of view towards them. You begin to reinterpret them. You begin to look at them differently. You realize that your whole life you've interpreted by this little narrow point of view. It's time to see if changing your mind will change reality. And the answer is absolutely yes, because that's the only frickin' thing creating it every moment of your existence. That's it. That's how you approach that river of life, understanding that flow. That's how that flow works. Life is a never-ending journey, and yet, in this physical realm, it's all about death. Death, 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 death. Not only the death of your physical being, but the death of your concepts, the death of your point of view, the death of your relationships, the death of your whatever. And the reason why is the other word for death, of course, is change. And ego hates change. The vast majority of human beings absolutely despise change unless they view it as positive. And I mean, it has to be really positive. And even then, they can rankle because they miss the old thing. Now, there's something about a river. What happens when you jump in a river? Well, if you're going to jump in the river, you got to know that the current's going to take you. And that's kind of the plan, because your life is an active journey, a journey of change, a journey of evolution, a journey of growth. Even if you think that journey's been pure hell, it's been one hell of a journey. And the good news is even that's going to die. You know, yesterday I sat with a group member in our home here, and I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You're never safe. There's been no safety since the day you've been born. Every single second of your existence is borrowed time. You are doomed." Just like the rest of you. We're all doomed. Great. And yet, because that doom is absolute, you're gonna die. Everything dies here in this apparent physical world. That's an absolute. We live in a relative world. You don't have to worry about it. It's there all the time anyways. There's nothing you can do about it. It's there whether you think about it or not. It's there before COVID. It's there after COVID. It's there before the meteor impacts the earth and wipes us all off it, or whatever the case may be. And it's there after that too. You're here on borrowed time. The reason being is you don't want to play this game forever. This is an experience, and then you're going to want to change the rules of your experience, and you're going to want to come back and you want to do it again. Now, the good news is, and the bad news, is that you're not standing on the shore. You're stuck out in the middle of the river on a raft. That's life. Get over it. You can paddle all you want. The current's going to catch you and take you, and you're going to lose all your energy looking backwards, missing out on the experience right in front of you. You can't cling to the bank. The current of life is too strong. Let go of those things that life is showing you to let go of. Letting go doesn't mean stop loving. Letting go doesn't mean never ever see you again, because who knows? They may meet you further downstream. And I guarantee you they will. If not in this immediate existence, in another one. The river of life doesn't require you to try to steer or navigate. It knows best for itself, and you are the river. You are the wave on the ocean, and yet you are the ocean. The wave never questions. Why do you? Why do you find it necessary to? You are on this magnificent journey, and the only thing you need to do to get in touch with that flow, to live in that holy space that I have to pull myself out of, at least partially, to be able to function normally, because it can be so overriding and so blissful, but you can't stay there either. All you have to do is start changing your point of view. Stop judging those things in your life that you would see, whether it's the past and what's happened to you, as negative, and just give it a try and honestly be willing to change your mind, to change your point of view. You know, I'm going to go through a really short little list, and a few of you have heard this before. If I'm boring you, I do apologize. I need a sip of coffee here. My dentures dry your mouth out. Tiger teeth. I'm going to get a new set and I'm going to sharpen them fangs. That one I really growled to be really worthwhile. Okay, so what exactly was I going on about? The deal is, life is going to carry you. Whether you're aware of it or not, it always is. You are always on that river. The river is change. Death is change. You experience many little deaths all the time. The reason you do so is to become comfortable with the big change that's going to come in your perception at the end of your life. Nothing that is going on with you right now is outside God's perfection. Nothing that you have ever experienced in your past or your present or what in your perceived future has ever happened to somehow try to truly do you harm, because you are beyond harm. So if you are still judging parts of your past as negative, I would like you to try an experiment. I would like you to take one experience from your past that you're having a particularly hard time and you're feeling particularly negative about, and perhaps you're allowing it to make you feel like you're less and not worthy and not loved or cared for. And I want you to look that version of you right in the eye and say, I know you think this was a really bad thing. But I have to tell you that if you would not have gone through what you did then, all of this would not have manifested. And I see the perfection in it. And let it go. Change your mind. Change your point of view. That's how you change your life. You can't change your life from moving. Okay, Jesus, I tried it. You know, I walked thousands of kilometers of desert. I walked the Himalayas. I spent years and years trying to escape. But guess what? My point of view was always there with me. I didn't have to go anywhere to change that. That's what that baseball bat of life, that titanium front-loaded baseball bat that Shiva the Destroyer loves to whack us with out of deep love and compassion. It offers you the opportunity to be jarred out of your current point of view and see a new point of view. And that's how you change reality. Because reality is you. That's the truth. So much love to you this evening. Namaste from myself and from Kelly, I am sure, and from our cats wherever they're hiding. Take good care of yourself. We'll see you again very, very soon. Good night.